Simplify and express your answer using positive exponents. We've always started by looking inside the parentheses to see if anything can be simplified there. In this case, there's no simplifying that can be done before we start on this problem inside the parentheses. So the first thing we're going to look at here is this power -3 outside the parentheses. And this situation most closely resembles the third form of the negative exponent rule, in which we have a fraction taken to a negative power. We can see that we can make the power become positive by simply taking the reciprocal or flipping the fraction over. So what we're going to do here is take the reciprocal of this whole expression inside the parentheses by flipping it over, and in that same step we will make our exponent become a +3 instead of -3. So we now have z in the numerator, and we have the entire 2x² in the denominator, and our exponent is now 3. All we have left to do is this product to a power, quotient to a power rule, where we cube every single factor that we have present. We can also call this a cubing party. So as I rewrite this expression, I'm going to replace each factor with itself cubed. Z becomes z to the power 3. 2 to the power 3 then becomes 8. X² to the power 3, remember that we are applying the power to a power, which is the power rule, which means we take the product or we multiply the two exponents. So 2 times 3 becomes 6, and then y also is taken to the power 3 and becomes y to the power 3. At this stage, there is no further combining that can be done, so we are done with the problem and ready to move on to the next one. Looking at this next problem, we again want to start inside the parentheses. What makes this problem a little bit harder is that we have two negative exponents, but the two negative exponents here actually do affect each other a little bit. This y is taken to the power -1 and taken to the power -2. So we have to do this in a sequential way. We can't try to just clear all the negative exponents at once. So, as we have been doing, it's best to start inside the parentheses, which means I'm going to grab this y to the -1 and move it to the other side of the fraction bar in order to make the power positive. This then becomes 3z³ in the numerator over y to the power +1 in the denominator. Make sure that your 3 stays in the numerator because only y is taken to the power -1. 3 is not taken to that negative power. And now that we have taken care of the negative power that was inside the parentheses, we can start to focus on the negative power that's outside the parentheses. Again, I want to go to this form of the negative exponent rule that tells me I can flip the whole expression over, so that applying that negative power, at least taking care of the sign first, and then we'll worry about squaring it afterwards, I'm going to take the whole thing and flip it so that y, or y to the 1, is now in the numerator, and the entire 3z³ is now in the denominator. And my power, now that I have flipped this over, my power is now +2. So next we can do our squaring party, or bringing that power 2 in and applying it to every single factor to get y² in the numerator, 3 squared, which is 9, and z cubed squared, or z to the 3 times 2, because this is the power rule, which is z to the 6th, now showing up in the denominator. What's really important in this case is that we don't try to apply both negative exponents in the same step, because it's too complicated what's going on here, and also that we don't start applying other properties of exponents until we have gotten all of the exponents positive. So a general rule of thumb is that we do the negative exponents first and get them all positive before we start applying other properties of exponents. It is possible to do this problem in a different order, but it's really common for people to make mistakes when they try doing this in another order. Everything stays very intuitive if we get our exponents positive before applying product rule, quotient rule, power rule, etc.